Quick, get in there. Come on.
Drugs, oh my God, the drugs out here on the streets. It's horrible because you can get drugs quicker than you can get anything, any kind of help. You got people coming up to you, just giving it to you, trying to get you hooked.
They call it the land of opportunity, a country where anyone willing to grind can build a life by a house and chase what we grew up calling the American dream. But what happens when that dream doesn't just fade quietly, it collapses right out in the open in the middle of the street. If you've ever walked through Philadelphia's Kensington neighborhood at noon or wandered San Francisco's Tenderloin after dark, you already know the crisis of being homeless in America isn't hidden. It's right there, stretched out across sidewalks, tucked under overpasses, looking back at you from the edge of survival. This travel documentary takes you straight into the streets that America would rather keep off the tourist brochure, where tens of thousands of people, veterans, single moms, teenagers, people with disabilities are trying to survive without a home, trapped inside a system that acts like they're invisible. Homelessness in the US isn't just about not having an address. It's about a breakdown of almost everything. At once healthcare, fair wages, mental health care, addiction treatment, and a sense of community. It's a slow, steady stripping away of human dignity that's been happening in plain sight for decades. In this episode, we begin with the hotspots of homeless in America, the places where the crisis is impossible to ignore. These cities were once celebrated as hubs of innovation, culture, and wealth. Today, they also mark the epicenter of a nationwide failure. So we start where the reality is most visible. New York City, where the lights stay on and so does the struggle. New York is famous for never sleeping, but for more than 83,000 people, that's not a slogan, it's their reality, because they don't have a safe place to sleep at all. Subway tunnels, public parks, and crowded sidewalks have turned into makeshift bedrooms. Some people spend their nights in packed shelters that can be dangerous and unpredictable. Others sleep in their cars, in stairwells, or in doorways, just trying to make it through to morning. Many of New York's homeless are actually working adults. They clock in and out sometimes at 2 jobs and still can't afford a place to live. One unexpected bill, one medical emergency, one eviction notice, and someone can slide straight onto the streets. In neighborhoods like Midtown Harlem or the Bronx, seeing people without homes isn't unusual anymore. It's woven into the daily rhythm of the city. This isn't just a housing emergency. It's a human emergency in one of the richest cities on the planet.
The tranquilizer is made for animals. And so when you give a tranquilizer to an animal, they roll on their bellies, right? They're gonna fall flat right on their belly, right? So that's why people are leaning the way they are and swaying the way they are.
Getting tranquilized on their belly.
Yeah, because if you were to give, a tranquilizer to a pig, he would lay down on his belly, you know what I mean?
Philadelphia's name comes from the idea of brotherly love. But in places like Kensington, what you see feels more like a front line of human suffering. This part of the city has become known around the world for its open-air drug scene, deep addiction, and blocks lined with tents that look like forgotten outposts of humanity. Fentanyl has torn through the community. People slump on sidewalks like frozen figures. Kids walk past the aftermath of overdoses on their way to school. Public health workers describe Kensington as a humanitarian disaster zone, where they hand out Narcan and clean syringes just to keep more people from dying. Here, homelessness is tightly tangled up with addiction and untreated mental illness, yet there's no real long-term plan to pull people out. What's even more disturbing is how many locals have started to see it as normal. Police often steer clear. Politicians offer vague promises and photo ops. And the people living and suffering on those streets are treated less like neighbors and more like a problem to be pushed away. San Francisco. San Francisco is the land of unicorn startups, ocean views, and sky-high valuations, and also one of the largest unsheltered homeless populations in the country. Across the Bay Area, nearly 40,000 people live without permanent housing, many of them right inside San Francisco's city limits. Neighborhoods like the Tenderloin Soma and the Mission are dotted with tents, shopping carts, and piles of belongings that hold what's left of people's lives. The contrast hits you immediately. On one side of the street, a sleek tech headquarters. On the other side, someone searching through a trash can for their next meal. This is a place of extreme wealth and very visible neglect. And here's the strange reality: San Francisco spends more money per person on homelessness than almost any other US city. Yet the crisis keeps growing. Shelters are full, rents are beyond reach. Mental health and addiction services are stretched to the breaking point. For many people, the sidewalk is the only option left. This isn't a travel story about innovation and startup culture. It's about what happens when a city becomes so expensive, so unequal, that thousands are forced to live and die in public view. This is one of the clearest snapshots of homeless in America today. These three cities, different in history, style, and climate, are all telling the same story. A story of broken systems, political indifference, and people surviving on the outer edge of society. And as this travel documentary moves forward, one question keeps getting harder to ignore. How did the wealthiest country on earth allow this to happen? In 2024, homelessness in the United States hit a record high, more than 771,000 people experiencing homelessness on a single night, an 18% jump from the year before. That number isn't just data on a chart. It's a reflection of a society that's failing millions. Behind every tent, every cardboard mattress, every person sleeping on the sidewalk, there's a story of a system that stopped working long ago. Homeless in America is not driven by one simple cause. It's the result of a perfect storm: widening inequality, failed policy, political neglect, and the collapse of vital support networks. In this part of our journey, we go beyond what the camera can capture into the deeper forces that built this crisis. The affordable housing collapse. In almost every major American city, rent has shot past what ordinary people can realistically afford. In places like Los Angeles, New York, and Seattle, even someone working full-time at minimum wage can't afford a basic one-bedroom apartment without pouring more than half their paycheck into it. The old rule of thumb, spending no more than 30% of your income on housing, now feels like a distant dream for huge numbers of people. Affordable units are disappearing. Developers follow profit, not low-income families. Public housing programs are underfunded year after year. Gentrification pours fuel on the fire. Once working-class, diverse neighborhoods are bought, renovated, and flipped into luxury condos and trendy coffee shops. Longtime residents get priced out or pushed out, unable to afford the upgraded version of the places they grew up in. They don't just lose an apartment, they lose their roots, their community, their sense of home. Working and homeless. Here's something that shocks a lot of people. A large share of the homeless population has jobs. Some estimates say between 40% and 60% are employed. They stock shelves, clean hotel rooms, cook in restaurant kitchens, and then sleep in cars, shelters, or under highway overpasses. The stereotype of laziness falls apart when you look at this reality. In today's America, having a job no longer guarantees having a place to live. These aren't people living off the system, they're a core part of the system. They brew your coffee, deliver your groceries, clean your office at night, and then quietly disappear when their shift is over. Many are single parents holding down 2 or 3 part-time jobs with no benefits, no security. Despite all that effort, they stay one missed paycheck away from losing everything. And when it happens, they slide into the ranks of homeless in America almost overnight. Mental health and addiction, a system abandoned. When large mental institutions were shut down in the 1980s, the promise was to replace them with strong community-based services. That promise was never fully kept. Today, millions of people live with untreated mental illness, and many of them have no access to medication, counseling, or stable housing. Most shelters aren't designed to handle serious mental health needs, and hospitals are overwhelmed and understaffed. Substance use, especially opioids and fentanyl, is both a driver and a symptom of the crisis. A lot of people don't turn to drugs for fun, but to numb trauma pain and the constant stress of surviving on the street. In San Francisco alone, more than 37,000 people struggle with serious drug addiction, a number that actually exceeds the city's homeless population. The overlap between addiction and homelessness is impossible to ignore. Broken systems, broken promises. Government programs that are supposed to prevent homelessness often fall short for the people who need them most. During the COVID-19 pandemic, emergency rental aid and housing vouchers helped keep many families off the streets. But by 2024, a lot of those temporary supports had ended, leaving tens of thousands vulnerable to eviction again. The safety net wasn't just rolled back, it was torn apart. Trying to get help usually means entering a maze of forms, long lines, months-long waiting lists, and confusing rules that change from office to office. People are told to get back on their feet, but it feels like the staircase is missing half the steps. Without legal help, caseworkers, or a stable income, the system doesn't feel like support at all. It feels like another obstacle. This is the reality of being homeless in America today, not a personal failure, but the outcome of systems that were never built to catch everyone and are now failing more people than ever before. In a country as wealthy and powerful as the United States, you'd expect homelessness to be treated like a national emergency. But year after year, administration after administration, the crisis not only continues in many places, it gets worse. One reason is uncomfortable to admit for some institutions, the reality of being homeless in America is not just tolerated, it's profitable. Homelessness is the surface symptom of deeper failures, not enough affordable housing, broken mental health care, low wages, and extreme inequality. Truly fixing it would demand major structural change. Instead, many leaders favor quick cleanups. Encampments are swept away before big events, so streets look tidy on camera, while the people themselves are simply pushed somewhere else. During elections, homelessness becomes a talking point, a threat to public safety for some, a moral scandal for others. After the votes are counted, urgency fades and budgets shrink. Meanwhile, private shelter operators, security companies, and parts of the addiction treatment industry earn billions managing, not ending the crisis. Developers see low-income areas and even shelters as future projects, lobbying to clear undesirable people out. The media often shows homelessness as either tragic or dangerous, rarely as complex and human. This documentary doesn't claim everyone in power is bad, but it does show how the crisis of homeless in America survives, not only through neglect, but through systems that quietly depend on it. When night settles over cities like Los Angeles, Seattle, or San Francisco, the streets change. Under the buzz of streetlights, another world appears, one most visitors never see, and many locals avoid. For people sleeping outside, survival isn't just exhausting, it's dangerous. Violence is part of daily life. Robbery, assault, intimidation, and extortion are constant threats in tents, alleys, and underpasses. There are no locks, no real privacy, almost no safety. People try to rest with one ear open, clutching the few belongings they have. The police. For many, they feel like another risk to manage, not a shield. Drugs are often less a cause than a response. Life on the street is cold, chaotic, and never lets up. For many who are homeless in America, fentanyl, meth, or heroin become ways to escape pain and fear not to chase a high. Places like Kensington in Philadelphia or the Tenderloin in San Francisco have turned into open-air drug zones, where overdoses happen in public and syringes line the sidewalks. Behind that addiction is organized exploitation. Gangs recruit homeless people as couriers or lookouts, trapping them in street economies that are nearly impossible to escape. In this chapter of our travel documentary, we're not just seeing chaos. We're seeing what happens when systems abandon people and the streets are left to make their own rules. Not everyone living outside has always been in crisis. Many of the people you pass on the street once lived lives that looked a lot like yours, going to work, paying bills, raising kids, holding on to simple, decent dreams. Then everything shifted. Around 1 in 10 people experiencing homelessness in the US is a military veteran. Some came back with visible injuries, others with wounds you can't see, PTSD, trauma, anxiety that never really loosened its grip. The promises of care and a smooth return home turned into paperwork, long waits, and phone calls that never came. So they end up sleeping in aging cars, under bridges, or outside VA buildings where their names are never called. Alongside them are former teachers, nurses, bus drivers, and city workers. People who spent years serving their communities until rising rents, medical bills, or sudden emergencies pushed them out. Most painful of all are the kids. Thousands are growing up in shelters, cheap motels, or backseats with school and stability, always at risk. This isn't just a story about people being homeless in America. It's a story of wasted potential of a system that forgot how to care, and of our choice to see them or look away. Every year, the United States spends billions of dollars trying to address homelessness. City leaders announce task forces, hire consultants, send outreach teams, and celebrate new shelters with ribbon cuttings. Yet the numbers keep rising. More tents under bridges. More full shelters by sunset. More people sleeping in bus stations and building doorways. The core issue is this: the system is built to manage homelessness, not to end it. Money flows into short-term shelters instead of permanent, affordable housing. Outreach workers do crucial work, but without real housing to offer, they hit a dead end. People get pushed through a painful loop sidewalk to shelter to ER to jail, then right back to the street. Bureaucracy makes everything worse. Getting help means forms, wait lists, and rigid rules that don't match the chaos of real life. Programs don't talk to each other. Housing, mental health, job training, and government agencies all move on separate tracks. Even when funding exists, NIMBYism blocks new shelters or housing projects. In the end, the system dealing with homeless in America largely functions as it was designed to contain the crisis, not solve it, while thousands still sleep outside its doors. Set, conclusion, who do we want to be? As we step away from the encampments, shelters, and city blocks in this travel documentary, one question keeps echoing louder than the data, louder than the news alerts. What kind of country do we want to be? Do we want to live in a place where success is defined only by money, where a safe home is a luxury, not a basic right? A country that raises glass towers and luxury condos faster than it builds affordable apartments? Or do we want something different, a society that values people not only for what they earn, but simply for existing? Because the reality is, homelessness isn't just about the people on the margins. It's about all of us. It's about what we tolerate. About what we walk past without asking questions. About how wide we allow the distance to grow between those who have more than enough and those who are clinging to the edge. The people we've met along this journey, veterans, single parents, teenagers, workers who sleep in their cars, after a long shift, they are not invisible. They are not broken beyond repair. They are us, just with fewer safety nets. So the real question isn't whether we have the tools to address homeless in America. We do.